A market in the Turkish city Istanbul. It's here I meet Khalid Hassan. He's a refugee from Sudan, fleeing poverty, jail, and torture. Getting to Turkey was tough for him and costly. But Khalid hopes his journey's not over yet. He wants to cross into the European Union, illegally. Like thousands more refugees here in Istanbul, he believes it's his only chance of a better life. He's doing this for his future, he says, and for his family back in Sudan. He has to support them financially. Ideally, he'd like to learn a trade and build a new life. He tells me he'd like to get married and start a family. What awaits Khalid on the next stage of his journey? To find out, I'm traveling to Turkey's border with Greece, the back door into Europe. Last year, almost 30,000 people crossed illegally into the EU by this route. Nowhere else is the influx of immigrants so high. I've arrived in Edirne, 10 kilometers from the border. From there, I take a taxi. We cross the river Evros. From the Mediterranean up to Bulgaria, it forms the border between Turkey and Greece. Regularly, it claims the lives of migrants trying to cross it in boats. Here, though, the Evros briefly flows through Turkish territory. And thanks to this bridge, refugees don't have to risk the unpredictable waters. From this junction, it's just a few kilometers to the open border. That's easily within walking distance. This section of the border is one of the most popular with migrants. I've arranged to meet Turkish military commanders here. I'm taken to one of the watchtowers. The officers give me an overview of their territory. Along this 12-kilometer stretch, only a dusty track separates Turkey and the European Union. Once refugees manage to cross it, they've arrived at their goal. To make things more difficult, Greece is planning to build a fence. But the Turks believe that's simply not necessary. The commander here, Colonel Özkan, tells me that his troops keep watch with binoculars and infrared cameras. He says it's impossible for anyone to cross this flat terrain unnoticed. I put it to him that only recently hundreds were crossing here every day. He dismisses the idea. The statistics, though, tell a different story.
Patrolling team consists of
the soldiers take me with them on patrol. The Greek authorities have repeatedly criticized Turkey's military, accusing it of letting migrants cross unchecked. These soldiers are keen to show that's not true. Patrols like this one, with their night vision equipment and other aids, are on orders to track down and detain all would-be migrants. My thoughts turn to Khalid. If he wants to cross into Europe, he'll have to get past these heavily armed men. If they catch him and deport him, it'll take him months to scrape together the money for another attempt. I can pass the border legally at the official crossing point. For Khalid and people like him, this is impossible. For me, it's a mere formality. I just show my German identity card, and I'm in Greece.
Okay, thank you.
The village of Nea Vesa, just across the border. Last summer, up to 150 refugees turned up here every morning. Now only a few make it. Patrols have been stepped up on both sides. I come across a group of Tunisians who have fled the chaos at home. They've only been in Greece a few hours.
We have now 35 hours without sleep, without eat, without water, without cigarette, anything.
I ask them how they managed to get across the border.
We see the road between Turkey and Greece, and we are waiting to change the army, you know. And after we are walking slowly and cross the border.
I go to the village cafe. I want to know how the locals feel about the influx of refugees. Maria Kyriakidou has been running the cafe for more than a decade. In that time, she's had contact with a good many. The refugees' fates still seem to move her. She tells me how once a couple came in with a little girl. Everyone thought she was sick. But her mother indicated that she was hungry. Maria went into the kitchen and made her some fries with cheese. The girl ate it all up, and her smile returned. Maria tells me the girl's mother was wearing 2 necklaces. She wanted to give her one, but she refused, saying, "Keep it, you might still need it." Then she tells me about the planned border fence. Maybe it'll make the situation in the village better, she says. But she's worried that more migrants will then try to make the river crossing. What happens when the Evros is high, she asks. Then they'll be pulling the drowned bodies out of the water like fish. All of Maria's customers have something to say on the subject of migrants. Here, on the edge of Europe, they feel they've been forgotten by the politicians. They say they do what they can to help. But again and again, I hear it's a problem others have to solve, in Athens, in Brussels. Outside, I see the Greek police loading up a group of migrants. I have to film secretly from my car, as the police don't want to be shown. I want to see where the refugees are taken, and travel on to this reception center at Fialkio. The authorities won't allow me in, for security reasons, they say. But a guard tells me that 500 people are kept here, many more than the official capacity of 370. When the inmates notice me, a few come to the window. Human rights groups have been critical of conditions here. But these migrants are the lucky ones. They've made it this far. Many are released quickly. They're told to get out of the EU within a month. Most don't. This journey has made me wonder what lives they had at home to risk such a difficult trek. For the refugees, a bus runs from the center gates straight to Athens. From there, they'll head to Italy, France, or Germany in the hope of finding a better life.